Hello everyone, my name is Amber. Welcome back to my channel, Amber Reads Romance. Today we're going to be doing a worth the hype video. I'm trying to do some more of these for some books that are overhyped or they worth the hype. We'll see. There are a lot of reasons that I put off those books, mostly because sometimes the hype is way too much and I don't get it. Like I don't get the love for the book, so I tend to put them off. So I finally read Fourth Wing, which of course everybody's seen this everywhere. It's all over Book Talk, all over Bookstagram, all over BookTube. Like I can't go anywhere without seeing stuff about the second book either. And so I said, it's time. You need to read this book. So was Fourth Wing worth the hype? We'll see. All right, so I did finally read this book, and I had a lot of issues with it. So I listened to this on audiobook, and honestly, I don't know if I would have finished it if I read it physically because it really dragged for me. Some of it is enjoyable, but there are so many issues that I had with this book that I just don't think it's worth the hype, you guys. So I'm going to go over some of my issues here. I'll briefly explain what it's about because, I think everybody knows what it is at this point. Violet Sorrengail is our heroine, and she is being forced to be a dragon rider or go into the dragon rider school. It's kind of like this school to weed out the weaklings and figure out if you're going to be strong enough. You have to complete a bunch of like trials and things, and to figure out if you're going to be able to bond with the dragon and become a dragon rider. She actually is really weak and like the underdog thing in this, and she was training to be a scribe. Like that's what her father was, and she really wanted to be a scribe. She's very book savvy. That's like her interest. She's a scholar. She has a condition where she like bruises and gets hurt easily, and her bones break pretty easily. Even though that's not really like talked about a lot, you just kind of infer that. But her mother is like a general in like the military or whatever it is, and so she's forcing her to go to become a dragon rider. So right off the bat, you jump into like her having to get to the school, and there's like this parapet, which is like this balance beam thing that she has to walk in. That's like really high and winds and everything. And people die just trying to walk across this beam to get to the school. So right off the bat, I was getting major Divergent vibes. And when I read people's reviews, I saw a lot of people said that. And so I'm glad I wasn't the only one. But this book is like Divergent with dragons. We have like it's really felt like Dauntless, like her going into like the extreme, like badass faction or whatever. And you have to do a kind of a death-defying stunt to get into it. And so it just felt very Dauntless. It felt very like the different factions of groups. So that kind of was annoying, but I thought it's okay. We take inspiration from different books. It's not too bad. But then we get to like meeting Xaden Ryerson, who is going to be the love interest in this. And they were setting it up as very bully or enemies to lovers. But in this book, I didn't really feel like it was true enemies to lovers. I felt like they were just trying to push that. Because Xaden is actually the son of the leader of the rebellion, which we know nothing about. And I'll go into that in a minute. But his father was killed, I believe, by Violet's mother. So she's like, oh, he hates me. He's going to kill me. And most of the book, she's freaking out about how he would kill her if he got the opportunity. So that's our hero. Then we meet Dane, and he is like kind of like her childhood crush, best friend that she had, and he's at the school, and he's just trying to get her to like get out of it because he knows she could die and she won't be safe. So my problem is that there is absolutely no world building in this book. We don't know anything about the history except for when she randomly like states historical facts while she's doing like competitions to calm her nerves. And that just feels like an info dump that's like not done well. And we have like No, we don't know about the rebellion. What were they rebelling for? What was the rebellion's cause? We don't know about all the different lands and going into like what the wars are about. Why is there these different creatures? What are the griffins? Like all these different things. We don't know any of that. Like, when did the dragons start bonding with humans? Why did they start doing this? Why do we have dragon riders? There's just so much that like you don't really know. We're just thrown into it and kind of given the information, and that just was not good to me. So that was one of my main issues, was honestly the world building. And then you have this whole school just felt stupid to me, where we're just killing all these people instead of like trying to keep them alive and train them better so that they can be better dragon riders. The other thing that I had was this felt very young adult. And it was very modern, the way they talked, like the slang they used. It didn't feel like a fantasy to me. And they acted like they were in high school. They're supposed to be in their 20s. And Violet has like the most immature monologues, like when you're in her thoughts, you're just like, this girl, like she acts like so immature. They act like they're in high school, but then we're supposed to believe they're in their mid-20s. Like, it didn't read like that at all. So I didn't really like that. I think it should have been just full in as young adult. I don't mind young adult, but like it needs to be marketed that way. And let's make it young adult and they're in high school, not them mid-20s. Another thing is there's a lot of side characters, and I didn't really care about any of them, especially when you have random characters dying. I didn't care about them. There was really only one side character I liked, and that was Liam. So, like, all these other characters, I couldn't even remember their names. I couldn't tell you anything about them. Like, I really was, like, did not care. Now, the Dane character was really annoying because they literally have the same conversation over and over about him trying to push her out, and, you know, like that she's not safe and he wants to save her and blah, blah, blah. And then he wants her to stay away from Xaden, but like Xaden and her have like this connection. And that's another thing, is like Xaden does so many things to like help her, yet she still says he's gonna kill her. But she's totally objectifies him too, about how hot he is. He's so sexy. He's so hot. Oh, and she's like watching him work out with his shirt off. Oh, he's so hot. It was just so two-dimensional. Like, I don't know. So that when their relationship does start to happen, like it's kind of done super fast, it feels like, and then they're like in love. And so it was kind of hard to make that jump that they were in love that fast. I kind of wish we would have had Xaden have his own POV. Like, we needed his story too, even though like he's supposed to be the enemy and whatever. Like, I don't think it would have given anything away, because a lot of the reveals and the plots and little like things that are going on, I saw coming a mile away. Like, it was so predictable. So giving me Xaden's chapters wouldn't have made this less predictable, and it would have been me more interested in his character and their romance. The other thing is Dane really felt like a knockoff of Tamlin, and then Xaden really felt like a knockoff of Rhysand, but like not done well. So I don't know, you guys. I think that the dragons were not done well. Like, they were very like second, like very background characters. And even when she bonds with her dragon, like their dynamic just didn't make sense to me. She like, it's very like, she's just very immature, and the way she talks to her dragon would bug me. I don't know. There's so much missing that like, and then when you get to the end and the big reveal with that happens, like I'm like, I already knew that. Like, I knew immediately what was going on. So I just really had a lot of issues with this book. I think that it was too modern, too contemporary to be like a fantasy. And we should have spent more time explaining the world to us, the rebellion, what wars are going on, so that it gives stakes to like what's going on. You felt very shut off from the rest of the world in the school. So it's like you don't even know what's at stake here, and what's going to happen once they leave the school. Like, I don't know. There's so much missing from this, that a lot of like plot holes. I don't know. I did like the audiobook. It did have Teddy Hamilton at the end, and that was one of the best chapters in the book. Like, I wish that we had more Xaden POVs. So I know you probably love this book, but try to think about it from the perspective of like, what was the world building? Do you know anything about like the rebellion or any details like of what this world is and why they became dragon riders and why it was needed? Like, we don't know any of that. So I just think it could have built a lot more and made a better story. And I don't know, just Violet's character is just not that fleshed out to me. And she comes off very immature and young adult. So that was my biggest issue with it. But I don't know. I don't want to go on and on like going off about this book, but I just got to say that the amount of hype that surrounds this book, like I can't go on TikTok without seeing a million things about Fourth Wing or the Iron Flame or whatever the second one's called. And I'm getting sick of it. Like, I don't want to see Fourth Wing shit anymore. Like, let's hype like good books, not stuff that's like traditionally published. It doesn't even make an effort to be a good romance. I mean, Carissa Broadbent's fantasies are a million times better than this. So I don't get it. I don't get the hype. I'm sorry if I'm bashing one of your favorite books. I'm sure a lot of you probably actually love this book. So I do apologize. But I just wanted to give my honest thoughts on it because I kind of was really underwhelmed with this. So I ended up giving this, I think, 3.5 stars. I think 2.5 on the spice scale. Because it does have some good spicy stuff. And that's why I kind of felt like they were just trying to make it new adult so they could have this spicy stuff in there. So we'll see. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. If you have the same thoughts or you want to say anything about what you felt about this book, please leave me a comment down below. I'd be happy to see what your thoughts were. But as always, please remember to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment down below and I will see you on the next one.